Greetings, one and all, from the Holy Land. No, I'm not in Jerusalem, talking to you from heaven. This is Jeff Meacham. Wearing an appropriate shirt. This is one of the newer Shawn Michaels t-shirts, courtesy of WWE. Yay, WWE. I love this shirt. I've been wearing it off and on all week. I love this shirt. So thank you very much, WWE, for making it available to the fans. Good shirt, good times. Coming to you from heaven, fresh off a huge show last week with the draft and the news and everything, getting a lot of responses on that, so thank you very much for watching again. Again, 13,000 by June 1st? Right, we're getting there. We're getting there. Back to the mailbag this week. I haven't done a mailbag in a while, and I'm kind of rusty, so if I seem a little slow today or a little off kilter, I got 2 hours sleep. Good times. Let's get to your questions. This is from Brennan Smith. I was listening to your mailbag and I heard you respond to a question about Triple H's success due to being involved with Stephanie McMahon. I agree with you that he was well established before that happened, but my question comes from his involvement with Shawn Michaels, Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash in the early 90s, or as we know them, the Clique. Since it's well known that they ran the show backstage in the WWF, how much of the success is due to them? I don't hate Triple H, I just want fair facts for it if I'm in a real opinion on it. I think that Triple H kind of hitching himself along for the ride when he joined the WWF in 1995, and making buddies with the Clique definitely helped him. There's no doubt about that. You know, him being best friends with Shawn Michaels and good friends with Hall and Nash definitely got him into the spotlight, good and bad. Because let's be honest, he ate a lot of shit after he was involved in the curtain call incident in Madison Square Garden. He took the hit for that. But you know what? That made him a better competitor in WWE. That made him a better superstar because he took the lumps like a man, and Vince saw that he could do it. He was King of the Ring the year after that, and he went on and became WWE Champion. So, you know, him being involved in the Clique can be directly correlated to his success. There's no doubt about that. Would he have gotten along without the Clique so well? That's hard to say. You know, hindsight is 20/20. But with Triple H, I tend to believe that he would have risen to the top in one way or another because he is that damn good, as he always says. And you know, he's been a success now for over 15 years. And multi-time world champion, and now he's built enough success for himself to be a father of 3, almost. She'll be due later this year. I forget when she's having the baby. I couldn't tell you. But, you know, to provide for his family, provide for his children, and, you know, his wife is the heir apparent, you know. Shane's gone, so she's going to be the one to take over. So, you know, his future is set, and a good part of that is him being best friends with Shawn Michaels and being part of the Clique. I agree with you, Brennan. This is from Dalton Bailey. Hey Jeff, two-parter. What is your favorite Rob Van Dam match of all time? Mine is One Night Stand 2006 against John Cena. A big part because the crowd was so into it and so anti-Cena, which leads me to my next question. What was your favorite match that the crowd just took it to the next level? Thanks, Jeff. Love the show. Well, Dalton, my favorite RVD match is fill-in-the-blank pay-per-view here versus Jerry Lynn. And even the ones they had on TV, too. Jerry Lynn matches against RVD were the finest RVD had. I am partial to the RVD Cena match, of course, because that is my buddy winning the world title for the first time, so that's always cool. The crowd taking it to the next level. There's so many live shows, you know. Damn. I don't remember what show it was that we did for Epic War. I can't tell you the match that took place or what happened, but after the match, myself and the stable I was managing at the time, High Society, were going out of the ring, and this is when the whole Fragile Man thing developed, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. I was hurting because I took an elbow drop to the ribs earlier in the night, but it was on pure adrenaline. I was leaving the ring, and the entire babyface portion of the roster was against, basically the whole roster was against myself and a few others. And we were leaving the ring, and the crowd was just, there was literally maybe 30 people in the building besides the wrestlers. Literally 30 people in the crowd, because that's, you know, Epic Wars venue is it's a warehouse. It's awesome. I love that place. You know, the crowd was just so, just ravenous and just pumped up and wanted to see me get my ass kicked and wanted to see us get beat up some more. You know, even the referees were against us. My God, you know, Josh Tariff, former XMB co-host of mine, was a referee that night, and his character, Christian Rosenberg, and he was peeling off his shirt, ready to fight me one-on-one, because that's how into it the whole crowd was. The crowd drew us in, the roster drew us in, and it was just pure adrenaline. I didn't feel a thing until I got back to Gary's house that night. I didn't feel a pain at all until I got back to Gary's house, and I was like, ooh, there it is. It settled in. So, anyway, that's been the crowd. Honestly, a crowd of 30 people turned it around for me. That entire match was just, they were so anti-us, anti-high society, that it turned the match around and it turned the night around. It was phenomenal. Never experienced anything like that in my entire life. This is, I didn't get this guy's name, I'm sorry. Damn, I apologize. Well, whoever you are, thank you for your question. What is your favorite and least favorite celebrity involvement with the WWE? My favorite is the Big Show versus Floyd Mayweather match at WrestleMania 24. I thought the match was solid and the build-up starting at No Way Out was good. My least favorite was Jerry Springer guest hosting Raw when they did that stupid segment that wouldn't end and the Raw wrestlers were laughing. That made it worse. Thanks, Jeff. Love the show. I may have adult Amelia again. I may be in YouTube questions today. My favorite celebrity involvement with wrestling, WWE or otherwise, is probably... You know what I liked, honestly, and this is going to say, oh God, here he goes with Hogan again, but it's true. Rodman, the first time. The first Rodman-Hogan pairing at National Beach 97 when they faced Luger and the Giant. That was cool, just to see Rodman, you know, do his thing and be the bad boy that he was. Least favorite was Jerry Springer, no question. That was just god-awful. That was like the movie The Never-Ending Story. It just would not end. Never-Ending Story is a good movie. The title is Never-Ending Story. Love that movie, and Jane would kill me if I said otherwise. Yeah, the Springer segment was just awful, and so nonsensical, and so forcing and trying the issue and trying to be funny that it just didn't work. It was just pathetic. Another one that was bad. Who was it? I forget who it was, man. I don't know. Anyway. But Springer was the worst. Yeah. This is from Miguel Valdez. I know you talked recently about the WWE title being Cena and whoever is next in line right now. I'm not a Cena hater, I actually a Cena fan, but I think a big problem in the perception and reality of the title being rented out by Cena is the fact that the belt was specifically designed for Cena. It is difficult consciously and subconsciously to completely buy into a new champion carrying a belt designed for one person. I know belts have been made for individuals before, like Stone Cold, but there was a purpose to it, and there was only a few times anyone other than Stone Cold carried the belt himself. I think the WWE should either create a new belt or go back to the Undisputed version or Attitude Era version if they truly want to make a champ other than Cena seem legit. My personal opinion would be to bring back the Attitude belt simply because I think it looks best. Your thoughts? You bring up a very good point, Miguel. You know, the WWE Championship for the last 5 years has been represented by a spinner belt, be it the Cena spinner or the Rated R spinner. Yes, the Cena spinner doesn't spin anymore, so it's not as cool as it was yet. It hasn't spun for 3 years, almost 3 years. And you know, Edge's belt was supposed to be a totally different design belt. They just kind of threw the Rated R spinner into the Cena spinner last minute because of production costs or whatever the hell the reason was. I forget. It's 4 years ago. So there is a perception that Cena will always get the belt back because it's his belt. I would have to agree with that. if they were to go back to a different belt, I have to say the Attitude Era belt is awesome. It's a big-ass belt, and it would match up with the big-ass, big gold belt that they use for the World Heavyweight Championship. It'd be belt for belt, match for match. And there was a difference in other individual championships being held, like when Stone Cold had the Stone Cold Smoking Skull belt. Either he wore it or people had it to antagonize him, to motivate him to get the belt back, like when Rock had it in '99, or when, that was the only one really, because Vince stole it from him, and then The Rock had it and Shane gave it to him. So, the Smoking Skull was thrown into the part of the storyline. That made sense. Everybody wearing the Cena belt makes no sense. If they're going to have a belt specifically designed for Cena, then he shouldn't lose the friggin' championship. He should be champion forever and ever. I don't really want to see that, do it? They should change the belt, and it should be the Attitude Era belt or a similar sized belt, just so there can be a little bit more tradition thrown back into the championship, God forbid. I mean, do we really need to see a frickin', spinner-looking belt on a WWE champion? This is from Klepto43. I'm a huge fan of the Mr. McMahon character and absolutely loved his feud with Stone Cold. My question is, what is your favorite Mr. McMahon Stone Cold moment? Mine is from Raw the week after WrestleMania 14. This is the week after, not the night after, boss. When Stone Cold came out in the suit and agreed to play ball, then punched Vince in the grapefruits and took a photo. I was front row at the time and was so entertained by that. Oh, God. Aaron, did you hear that question? Favorite Mr. McMahon Stone Cold moment? How many of them were there? The hospital. Yes. I agree with Aaron Rift. Absolutely. The hospital and the bedpan and the enema. Oh, my God. How many of us peed our pants laughing at that one? Oh, Mr. McMahon pissing his pants. There's another good one. McMahon 316 said I just pissed my pants. There were so many good Austin McMahon moments. The beer truck, that feud was so good. It came along at the right time for WWE and just shot them back into the stratosphere where they belonged, and they overtook WCW. And it just worked on so many levels. So many people were involved in that feud. The corporation and the union and Austin and Vince and Undertaker and the ministry. And it just worked on so many levels, and it was so good. And it just climaxed, and it was like an after sex cigarette. It was that good. I don't smoke, but I hear good things. And then they killed it off by having Austin join with him. So that was kind of like, really? After all that, you're going to join forces with him? But I guess the whole thing was desperate men do desperate things. He was that desperate to be WWE champion. He needed insurance policy, so whatever. But I can't think of just one. But the hospital and the McMahon 316 size pissed my pants, and the beer truck stand out for me. Nick Elzer, when do you think Shawn Michaels was better, the 80s or the 90s, or his comeback in the 2000s? Wow. Both eras are really good. Both of them are really good. He was very good in his original run. Should have been tag team champions. Would have been if the rope hadn't broken that match against the Hearts. Great Intercontinental champion, great tag team champion with Diesel briefly. And great WWF champion, even though he apparently was miserable for most of that run. And of course, he came back in 2002, and he won tag titles again. He won the World Championship really early. He headlined WrestleMania more than once. He, went out at WrestleMania, closed the show at WrestleMania this year, in one of the better matches of his career. The two Undertaker matches the last 2 years have been two of the best of his career, period, and that's going 25 plus. He's that good still. He was that good, and he went out on top. So for me to choose which HBK was better, I can't, because both of them were so good. Ryan, oh God, sorry boss, Vaccaro, V-A-C-C-A-R-O, Vaccaro, sorry boss. My question is, in your opinion, who's the better wrestler, The Undertaker or Ric Flair? Over the years, I've heard Ric Flair being referred to as the man because of his multiple world title reigns, Well, since Undertaker will get 19 WrestleMania wins, does that make him, the dead man, the better wrestler? And let's face it, Flair hasn't put up a good match in a while. Undertaker still does it, even though he manages to break something during the course of the match. My other argument is, as you said, titles are considered as props, and if that's the case, I think Undertaker should be seen as the best wrestler in WWE. And honestly, I think he can make a case that he's better than Hogan. Just my thoughts. What do you think? Well, you're going to hear something rare right now. You're going to hear me agree and an anti-Hogan argument. My dad and I have talked about this a lot over the last 5 or 6 years since Undertaker came back as the dead man at WrestleMania 20, where it all began again. And I have to say that The Undertaker is the best of all time because he stayed consistent. He's stayed consistent for 20 years now. He hasn't really, his game hasn't really faltered all that much. He's been injured here and there, but when he's come back, he's been legit badass and legit, American badass, legit on top and stayed on top and stayed consistently at the top of the card. You know, you don't stay at the top of the card unless you've got that special it factor. You know, Hogan, when he came back, he had the it factor. He was on top for a while, but eventually he went to the mid card. And, you know, yes, he was a special attraction because he's Hulk Hogan, but he didn't stay world champion longer than a month of his big comeback. You know, Undertaker will win world titles and stay on top for a while because he's the Undertaker and because he can still carry a match well. Ric Flair, yes, he's a 20 or 21, I lose count, but I think the official count was 20, according to my record books, and I'm the only one that count, god damn it. 10 NWA, 8 WCW, 2 WWF. That's 20, folks. Count them. Count them. You're only as good as your last match, in my opinion, and that's the opinion of many that I talk to, that are friends of mine in the business. And Ric Flair's last match was god-awful. Wouldn't you agree, Aaron? The Flair, AJ versus Hogan Abyss was just the glorification of all that is wrong with this sport.
Abyss last week. You missed Impact.
I did miss Impact. They had Flair. Oh, that's right. It was Ring versus Ring.
Yeah.
And Abyss won and took Flair's ring. Wow. There you go. They had a TNA match over WWE rings, and the greatest of all time was involved. I gotta agree with Ryan. Undertaker has never given me a reason to doubt his greatness. How do you argue with that? Devin Hotelling, during the Final Four, we saw President Obama playing a game of horse with Clark Kellogg at the White House. If you could see it, what WWE superstar would you like to see President Obama step into the ring with? Wow. President Obama in a WWE ring facing a superstar. Well, I like Obama too. I voted for him. Helped him get elected. I worked the campaign. Yes, I did. If you're a Republican, I'm sorry. God. You know what would be interesting? If he was still at the company, because Obama, if I remember right, was an athlete in his day before he got into politics, and is still an athlete to a certain extent. I would have liked to have seen Shelton Benjamin face Barack Obama. That would have been cool. Two good athletes. Since Shelton's not there anymore, I'll give a current answer, and I'll say Chris Jericho, just to see Chris Jericho get proved wrong again. This is from Rodney Boswell. What do you think about TNA and WWE not using heel announcers anymore? I grew up and was spoiled with Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan commentating, and granted, nobody will ever be like Bobby Heenan, but I think using a heel announcer adds more to a match rather than both commentators cheering for the face. What are your thoughts? Well, the thing is, nowadays, you don't see announcers cheering one way or the other. Michael Cole's even stopped doing that, thank God. It's pretty, they're pretty cut and dry. They just kind of call the shots. They call the matches, and that's the end of it. Matt Striker's the only one that still throws out a heel barb every now and then. But I think the days of babyface and heel announcers are a thing of the past. I think they should be, they're trying to legitimize the business more, it seems like to me. I know it's still sports entertainment. I know it's still a gimmick, whatever. But I think the WWE, and to a certain extent TNA as well, with their two announcers, although Mike Tenay and Taz are both ridiculously one-sided, I think. In most cases, and some of their calls are just like, really? But I think they're trying to legitimize the announcing more and trying to make guys objective. So they're trying to keep them in the middle and not be one way or the other. So my thoughts are that day is done, and it needs to be done. This is from a longtime viewer, Jen Jap Abnick. I'm sorry about your name pronunciation, Bros. I really am. I don't know how to say your name. I'm sorry. I got a question. I was watching through the inductees of the Hall of Fame of WWE and noticed there were only 3 tag teams: the Blackjacks, the Wild Samoans, and the Valiant Brothers. Why doesn't the WWE let more tag teams in the Hall of Fame? Teams like Demolition, the Road Warriors, the British Bulldogs, Hart Foundation, DX, and I could come up with a lot of other tag team names could go in the Hall of Fame. You make a good point. What is it now? 17-year history of the Hall of Fame, but only a few years, really. They kind of last for about 10 years. So, there could be more tag teams. You've got a team like DX, and even a stable like DX. You got the Hart Foundation. If Anvil cleaned himself up, last time I saw Anvil Neidhart, he wasn't in good condition. I'm not talking about the DVD, because he cleaned himself up very nice for the DVD. We heard a story when we were at WrestleMania this year here in Aaron's about Anvil's current state of mind. But the British Bulldogs definitely deserve it. The Road Warriors definitely deserve it. Demolition, I'm kind of on the fence about. Yes, they were the longest running tag team in WWE, tag team champions in WWE history. But you got to keep in mind, those guys were created strictly to spoof the Road Warriors. And when it came time for the Road Warriors Demolition feud, Hawk and Animal wiped the mat with those guys. So, Demolition, I'm not sure about. But the rest of those teams you mentioned, definitely. The Hearts, the Bulldogs, the Road Warriors, DX, all those teams definitely deserve induction. All right, before we wrap things up today, I have one quick plug. Besides the WWE plug I gave WWE, free publicity WWE, there you go. A friend of mine, Gary Yap, who runs Epic War and Art Over Life Studios, which you can find at artoverlifestudios.com, by the way, is an artist by trade, more often than not. He's an artist who happens to run a wrestling promotion. That's what he does. He's an artist. And I wanted to show a couple of great prints that he did. This is of adult film star Eve Lawrence. I don't know if you can get a shot of Aaron. Tell me where right there is good? Okay. This is her as Jax, one of the characters in his new comic Machete. So check it out at artoverlifestudios.com. But my favorite one that he's done ever is, I mentioned earlier about Fragile Man. Now, Fragile Man came about after a show at Epic War where I took an elbow to the ribs, and I went to Twitter and bitched and moaned and complained for weeks about the pain. And Gary decided to take advantage of it and draw Jeff Meacham as Fragile Man. There you go. Noah, this one's for you, buddy. There you go. Have fun with it. Mike, if you're watching, you can have fun with this one too. Notice the no DQ hat, the Mickey boxers. I'm going to scan this and put this on Facebook and MySpace for sure, but I just want you guys to get a shot at the actual print. This is actually hand-drawn, colored in, and done by Gary. And you can actually buy a print of this on Gary's website, so artoverlifestudios.com. If you buy a print and you see me, I'll sign it for you. I'll have Gary sign it for you too if I see him. But Gary's already got his name on there, Gary 2009 right there. So check out Gary's website, artoverlifestudios.com, and see what's going on with Epic War. We got a great show coming up soon. I just don't know the exact date of it. I couldn't tell you. We had a great show the other week for Jimbo's birthday. That was fun. Anyway, on to the rest of the plugs. MySpace, Facebook, Twitter, all that happy stuff. You'll see it at the end of the show as you always do. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Talk Wrestling. We'll be back next week with more mailbag questions.
Jeff, you're going to hell.